Why I became a property investor, and what that doesn't mean. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk honestly about something that's often loaded in Australia, being a property investor, and not in the abstract. Me, personally. Why I chose it, and what it does and doesn't say about my values. I didn't wake up one morning thinking, I'd love to become a greedy landlord. That caricature often appears in the Australian conversation, especially when rents rise or housing supply is tight. I get why the frustration is there. Housing is essential. When essential things become expensive, emotions flare. But the truth is much more ordinary. I became a property investor because I wanted to take responsibility for my long-term future. Wages don't always keep up, superannuation has limits, and relying on government settings decades from now feels risky. Buying a property was a way to build something steady over time, something I could manage, improve, and protect. It wasn't about squeezing tenants. In fact, most of us rely on good relationships with the people living in our properties. You want someone who treats the place well and feels at home. You don't achieve that by hiking rents unfairly or treating housing like a commodity. The Australian rental market has its issues, but most individual investors aren't sitting around brainstorming ways to exploit people. We're juggling interest rates, maintenance, insurance, and taxes, as well as running our own family with children, same as anyone trying to manage something responsibly. There's also a broader context. Australia's housing supply hasn't matched population growth for years. When supply falls behind demand, prices and rents rise. No investor controls that. A single landlord doesn't set market rent any more than a single shopper sets the price of groceries. For me, investing was about security, having something to fall back on, something I could eventually pass on my kids. It's a long game built on sacrifice, not opportunism. Saving for the deposit, taking on the debt, absorbing repairs, dealing with interest rate swings, and staying compliant with a thick book of regulations. My husband and I are both white-collar salarymen with Australian average salaries. We live frugally with strict spending budget in order to save and invest mainly for comfortable retirement. So when people ask why I became a property investor, the answer is simple. I'm planning for the future, not trying to make anyone's present harder. And if anything, the national conversation needs more collaboration between tenants, owners, and policymakers. Because the real enemy isn't individuals, it's structural shortages and broken incentives. That's where my head is at. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.